Just three ordinary people from the hills of eastern Kentucky. We don't have all the answers, but we do have all the questions. This is the Just Add Bourbon podcast with Jimmy Don, JD, and Don. Welcome, everybody, to the Just Add Bourbon podcast. I'm Jimmy Don Kerr.
I'm Dawn Giesica.
I'm JD Dameron.
And it is another beautiful Sunday evening here in the hills of eastern Kentucky. And it is another Sunday evening when JD comes on and says, I have to make better life decisions. It's Sunday. When we get up, JD says, dog, I got to make better life decisions. And it's one of my favorite things every Sunday. And then I have to say, too, guys, that when I hear the ice drop in the glass in the intro, it gets me fired up. I'm not kidding. I hear the glass drop and then the pour, and I'm like, hell yeah, it's time.
I love our intro. I'm always dancing. I love it.
Yeah, it is good stuff, man. But I'm like Jimmy, I hear that glass or ice hitting the glass. I'm like,
ready
all right, it's go
time.
Let's
go. Yeah, it's game time. But yeah, no, I love it. So, guys, how are we doing this fine Sunday evening?
I'm doing great. I just got in. I actually exercised today, but
I just got in too, but it was from last night.
JD wasn't exercising. It depends on what you call exercise.
Oh, that's right. Well, I think our exercise is a little different this time, JD.
Everybody should exercise like JD.
You will have. Yes, I encourage that sometimes. Well, it depends on what kind of exercise we're talking about, I guess.
Yeah, that's funny.
I'll tell you what. I'm serious. I got to make better life decisions.
It's my favorite thing. I love it when JD comes on when he says that every day. Like before, like behind the scenes, like a little, inside baseball. We come on here and I set everything up. That's right.
Amanda just killed it. That's funny.
Yeah, I love. Yes, JD was working his core. Every weekend. I love it.
That's so funny.
Oh, no, it is. It always gets me fired up. So, look, guys, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. And we're going to kind of start like we always do with the sports. March is right around the corner. Today's February 27th. We're 2 days from March. March Madness. Kentucky's only got 2 games left in the regular season before the SEC tournament. So I think we got Ole Miss and Florida. Then the next week, the SEC tournament will start. And the Cats, guys, I don't know if you watched the game yesterday, but it's probably one of the most high-level basketball games I've watched all year. The second half was. Yeah. And you can tell March Madness is coming. All 6 of the top 6 teams lost.
Yeah.
And you can tell it's starting to get serious, and it is time. So the Cats went down. It was a disappointing loss, but it was an expected loss for me anyway, because Arkansas beat all those teams, beat every top team in the SEC at home this year, and they got a good team.
They got a good team. I mean, the Hogs came out to play, right? Mm-hmm. Whoever had the basketball last, it seemed like yesterday. I mean, we had a couple turnovers there in the last final minutes, and that kind of did us in. But, yeah, it was a great game. I told you earlier, I thought that Big O, I mean, he performed from beginning to end.
So good.
From beginning to end. Note went crazy, Arkansas player, so he did good. I wish we would have came out with the dub, but, that's how it goes sometimes. We just put our backcourt in. And, it takes a while to kind of – when you set out 2 games, it takes a few minutes to kind of get your bearings back and figure out what's going on. And
JD, it's hard to win on the road in the SEC, brother. I mean, it just is.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I didn't watch the game. I ain't gonna lie. I had things going on, but this ball game. No. I was good all day yesterday. Till it got a little dark. But anyway, earlier in the week we won the game, man. We was down by like 8 points, and we come back and beat the brakes off of. Who was it? LSU?
LSU.
Yeah, we stomped them. And so, did Tata and them play yesterday or no?
They did. They came in, and you could tell they were rusty. In the first half, we played as bad as you can play in the first half. And was only down by 6. And Arkansas played out of their minds.
Yeah.
And did Hopkins get to play?
He did, but they pulled him out. They pulled him out pretty quick.
Yeah, he didn't do much.
Now, against LSU, man, he balled out. Like I was like, man, here it is.
He didn't have a chance this time, did he, Jimmy Don?
Not really, no.
I mean,
no, he didn't. Yeah. But guys, while March Madness is 2 weeks down the road, I'm excited for the Cats. I got to talk about the cards and the lady cards. Won the district tournament this week. It was a lot of fun over at Johnson Central. Our boys and girls teams played very, very well, and Martin County showed out in a big way for both teams at the championship games, and it was a lot of fun.
I would have loved to have went.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite things about all these things, man. These little tournaments, the district tournaments, regional tournament, is the communities that come out and support everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Martin County showed up in full force. It was a good time, man. The kids, the girls can ball. We got a good little team.
We got a good team.
And the boys, man, like it seems like they always start slow, but once they get zoned in, man, they can shoot.
Listen, they've gotten gradually better all year. And I didn't think I could say this. I got to shout out Brady Dingus. Brady Dingus is a Mr. Basketball candidate.
Mm-hmm.
He's a beast.
And he got better as the year went on. And I don't know how that's possible because he is a stud. Like, I mean, I've never seen a kid, and I my hand to you, I've never seen a kid that works as hard as that kid does. I mean, he's a machine. And he got better. It was like all of a sudden he was like, okay, it's like he figured out the game all of a sudden. Like, okay, I'm going to share with my teammates, get my teammates involved, but I'm going to control the whole game. And the dude started scoring 30 a game. I mean, just started going nuts. And Luke Hale got better.
It's the most unselfish 30 points a game ever, though. It's weird.
Ever.
They look like they're well coached.
Well, they are well coached.
They look like they're well coached, and they've got a bunch of good boys. I was able to watch the game online, but I do have to do better. I'm sitting here in Paintsville. I could have easily went, and it just wasn't on my radar to go. But I was able to watch it online, and some interesting things going on at the game.
Oh, no, that's what we got to talk about.
That I wanted you all to fill me in on.
Yeah, no, that's what we need to talk about. And you should come, Don, because it's like JD
Boy, I'd be in the middle of all that.
Yeah, it's like JD. Me and JD sit together in every game, act like fools. It doesn't matter what's going on. Yeah, we're there for the cheerleaders. We'll tell you. We're there for the cheerleaders.
I tell everybody that sits with us, like, hey, boys, we're doing the cheers, so just let you know now.
Just a heads up. JD and I do all the cheers.
Yeah. So I would like to go, and I'm going to have to start going. I was telling my friends, I'm like, being moved away for so long, you kind of get out of the rhythm of doing, because where I'm living now in West Knoxville, it's not small at all. It's a city, and we're not community oriented like that. So it's really nice to pull up, on my phone and literally see all of Paintsville on one. I mean, I recognized, gosh, it went into the hundreds. Everybody. I either was recognizing everybody on the Paintsville side or everybody on the Martin County side, and everybody was into it and it's supporting all of these teenagers. I mean, it was great to see.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. It is an interesting case study every year when you watch the district tournament, because you've got these four pockets, right? You've got Johnson Central, Magoffin County, Paintsville, which is the city school in Johnson County, and then Martin County. And we're all basically the same people, right? But we passionately cheer. That's there's a lot of counties in Kentucky, right? But I would hate to see them take the counties away. There's 120 counties, and I would hate to see them take all these counties away, because we are very tribal in a sense, right? Yeah. Eastern Kentuckians especially, and really all over the state. You don't tell people what city you're from. You tell them what county you're from.
That's right.
I'm from Martin County.
Proud Martin County, right?
Yeah, and so it's interesting how that comes about. But JD, let's talk about, because really the pinnacle of, I guess, what we need to talk about happened during the boys' championship game.
Right, but there's a lot lead up to that.
Yeah, and so let's talk about that first, and then we can do a little back history on what's going on. So Friday night, or what night was that? Friday night, yeah. Friday night. Yeah. Martin County plays Paintsville. Now, we are bitter rivals with We're bitter rivals with everybody in the district. That's just part of it. But everybody hates Paintsville, okay? And the reason, is because Paintsville is really good. I mean, they've won the state tournament. They go to the state tournament a lot. They're good. People love to hate them. Their football team's good. They've won championships in the last several years, too. They're good. But their people are interesting. Their fans are interesting. And I'm not trying to throw shade at anybody over there. I know a lot of people from Paintsville, but I'm just talking about as a whole. It's very interesting to watch. So Brady Dingus, who is, like I said, Mr. Basketball candidate, and this kid, Colby Fugit, who is the star for Paintsville.
Heck of a ball player.
And a heck of a ball player. That kid's a baller. He can absolutely play. So Dingus, we're starting to blow them out, right? Third quarter, they come out on this crazy run. They get us down like 12-0. We come back, tie up the game. They come out in the second quarter. They jump out again. We come back. And at halftime, we're tied up. We come out in the third quarter, and we are on fire. I mean, like, we can't miss. Our defense locked them down, and we were on fire. And we started hitting threes left and right. Well, we have them down essentially 14 points. All right, so Brady steals the ball. He's coming down. It's him, the Fugate kid, one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
And they went up, and I'm talking they went up. Like they, as JD likes to say it, they were competing. I mean, both of them, as hard as they could, you got on that one play, you got every bit of their effort.
Yeah.
Brady goes up high.
Two best players on the court. Period.
Two best players on the court.
Okay.
Brady goes up high. The Fugate kid's up high. The Fugate kid hammers Brady. Brady still makes the shot. Brady ends up sliding on the floor. He's over here, and the Fugate kid comes down awkward and lands right on his side.
So this is the big fall that I seen.
This is the big fall. And I see from what I told you, he broke some ribs.
Yeah, that was scary. Oh, so, he did?
He actually broke some ribs, is what I was told.
Awful.
So, I mean, and then, so hard fall, hard foul. And the lead up to this is the referees hadn't called a foul all night. Paintsville did not get a foul called on them. Not one foul on them until a minute to go in the third quarter.
Third quarter. Okay.
So, and I think this happened in the fourth quarter, right, JD, when that big, or was it the end of the third?
I think it's the end of the third. I think
end of the third. All right. So they hadn't got a foul called on them all night. The referees were letting them play. I mean, and if you've ever watched one of these district games, especially these kids and these teams that know each other, they get after it. I mean, it's physical. It's awesome to watch. Like, it's a physical game. It's hard to score, the whole thing. So anyway, this collision happens. The Fugate kid's on the ground, and he's hurt. Next thing you know, all hell breaks loose. And apparently, the Fugate kid's girlfriend came out of the stands and then said something to one of our cheerleaders. Okay? And there's history there with that particular cheerleader and, this Fugate kid's family. So, but the cheerleader comes out, or the girl comes out of the stand, says something to them. The next thing I know, one of our cheerleaders, go ahead, JD.
First off, we need to put in there, the fall happened right in front of our cheerleaders.
Right in front of our cheerleaders.
And our cheerleader was like, hey, she recognized that
he's hurt.
And she was trying to get somebody to give him some attention. Like, he's hurt.
Okay.
Because he was hurt. And it was clear he was hurt.
Right.
I saw all this, but I couldn't make out what was really going on. I knew that the child looked like he was injured, but that was it. And then next thing I know, I'm seeing lots of bodies.
Yeah, well, like you said, the girlfriend came on the court. I'm freaking out because I don't know what's going on. I can't compute what's happening in my mind. And I've got my daughter down here on the sideline. You know
Me too.
Okay. Yeah. Now, are both of your girls cheerleaders? Is that what you guys? Yes. Okay, so you guys.
That's why we do the cheers.
So you guys know all this. Okay.
Yeah. And then so one of the cheerleaders, one of our cheerleaders, gets really upset and starts talking. And next thing you know, there's people hustling our cheerleaders off the court, right?
Right.
And they're having to hold a couple of the girls back. They're, like it was this whole thing.
Right.
And we get them over to the side. The kid's mom comes on the court. She's running her mouth, and that's a whole thing too. Everybody in the region knows who this lady is. And so then, all that happens. Well, all right. So the game ends, and we end up blowing them out, right? We end up getting them down by like 20.
We won by 19.
Or 19. Thank you, JD.
Yep.
And so after the game, there are several things from the opposing sideline. They're talking trash about us, about Martin County, saying, well, you can't let these Martin County people out anywhere. They can't behave. You can't do this. You can't do that. Then they go on to Facebook and they start talking about how the referees cheated. And, and I'm sorry if you're from Paintsville and you're watching this, you don't get beat by 19 because the referees cheated. You got beat. You just got outplayed. That's all that happened that night. Because Paintsville is awesome. Like, they're good.
Yeah.
And we just caught on fire.
We got hot, man. Yeah.
Yeah. And we got on fire, and our defense locked them down. They couldn't score. So, so they just got beat. But the whole dichotomy of people who are exactly the same. We're the same people. Like, I don't care if you're from Paintsville.
You're absolutely the same people.
You're the same people, right? It's just funny.
The same people. I don't know. I don't even know where they're going with Cherry Pick and Martin County out. I have a huge news flash. When you are outside of Eastern Kentucky and they think about Eastern Kentucky, they don't dive down and cherry pick just Martin County to trash. They're trashing the entire region completely together. If you live in Paintsville and you think you're better than Martin County, I have a big surprise for you. You're not. You're not even close, honey. You're in Paintsville, and I'm not throwing shade. I'm not throwing shade at anybody. I'm giving you facts. We all live and are sitting in some of the poorest areas of this nation, not just one little area in Martin County, all of this. So you don't have anything to stand on and look at another county and try to act like you're superior. You're poor too. You're from a poor area too.
Yeah, and JD, like, I don't dislike anybody from Paintsville, but I love to hate Paintsville in sports, right? Like,
that's
love to hate
them. That's how it's supposed to work, man, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're supposed to have this big rivalry.
Friendly banter.
Oh, it's Paintsville week, or it's president, or whatever it is, man.
Yeah.
And let's get fired up. Let's compete. Let's get after each other. And after the game, like, all right, man, that was good game. Let's go home. You know?
No.
But that's how it's supposed to be, in my opinion. That's what it always has been in the past.
That's what makes sports fun, right?
Yeah,
is the banter. I love sitting, like you guys know, I live in Tennessee too, and I love sitting with Tennessee fans and hanging out with them. I love the banter. Sometimes I get a little passionate, but ultimately I like the camaraderie that sports can bring out of people, and there's always some darkness there too. And you guys, let me tell you, when somebody like me has lived here her whole life and then moved away and moved to a rich area, because my part of Knoxville it's wealthy. Okay. I'm not wealthy. It's just that area is wealthy. So when you go from one area to another, and then I pull this up on Facebook and I see that this behavior is still like 1980s, you guys literally had what looked like maybe a 50-year-old woman. Now, I don't know these people. JD and Jimmy Don just told me the story. I don't know any of these people. I'm just telling you, it looked like an adult woman came out of the stands and went toward a teenage cheerleader. That does not happen in areas that are well policed. She would have been arrested immediately. She would have been arrested. And if this is somebody who is well known to do such things to minors, she would have never been able to step foot in any basketball court in any school. That's how it works outside of here. But here, we still have this, 80s, 90s mentality to where I think everybody thinks it's okay to just bust out and fight. You had a kid laying on the court who evidently had broken ribs. Tend to him, don't attack these kids have to be 15, 16, 17, right?
Sure.
Cheerleaders. Don't attack a 17-year-old girl. I don't get why we still have that mindset. And because we still have that mindset is why when I go to other areas, and when your kids, especially yours, Jimmy Don, when she goes to Vanderbilt, it's exactly why when she goes to Vanderbilt, they're going to look at her and go, oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
Because we keep acting this way.
Right. I mean, that's where I'm getting at. I don't understand how a woman, and I'm sure she's defended her actions since then.
There's no defense.
How could you do that, make that action, and think that's okay, and continue to do it repeatedly? Repeat that behavior. It's almost like me saying, oh, I got to make better life choices. You know what I'm saying? This lady needs to definitely make better life choices, because coming down on the sideline of a high school basketball game and trying to attack some little girls, that's not cool. Attacking a young basketball player outside of a basketball game last year with the same lady, that's not cool. That's not good. That tells me a lot about your character as a person, and somebody I think's trash. I'll just be honest with you.
Well, and the same person was down here in Martin County. We beat Paintsville over here. And afterwards, she's standing down by the Paintsville locker room. I don't know if she was going to say something to the refs, because that's the same side the refs go in. I don't know what she was there for, but we had a cop standing beside her. That's how known it is of what she might do. And like I said, I don't know her, and I don't know what her personal issues are. I don't know why she's doing what she's doing. But when you're that known, where she's standing over there, so you put a cop over there just in case, that's a problem. She shouldn't even be allowed in your gym. I'm sorry if that's what you think the case is.
Right. First, schools are supposed to provide safe environments, even if it's during an after-school event and you're hosting something, you're hosting the community. The administrators need to get together and ban this woman, point blank. If she has a history of attacking kids, she needs banned. That's actually how it works in the real world, just not back here. She's going to fool around, and she's going to attack one of these kids, and she's going to get real passionate. She's going to haul off and hit. And then there it's going to be, because that's when all of Martin County will rightfully so empty out the stands. And then here will come all of whoever their opposing team is. And let's talk about this, JD. Me and you went back and forth on Mahomes, and we ended up agreeing. When you act crazy and you have a really good athlete, it sounds like her son is an excellent kid.
He's a stud.
And an excellent athlete. Yeah, so he's a good kid and he's a good athlete. It sounds like a great athlete. If I was a recruiter, I would be so nervous over what kind of drama this kid has in his life, because he's going to be packing along a mother that attacks the opposing team. That takes away from him and puts everything on her.
You know, one of the things, Don, as a coach, you'll find out that I found out as a coach. You know, we try to do teams and travel teams, you know, select teams. And the same, this is what college recruiting is. These people are selecting their teams. They're going out and picking these kids out of a national pool.
Yeah.
And if you draft somebody or you recruit somebody, guess what? Who else you're drafting or recruiting?
The family.
Their parents.
Yeah. Their
family's coming along with them. His mom's going to be at Campbellsville or at UK or wherever. You think, I promise you, if she pulls out at the University of Kentucky, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
she needs to recognize that, man. Honestly, God. I mean, like, this is a detriment to this kid. This is something that's going to
you're holding
him back. Absolutely.
You're holding your pride and joy back.
Totally please get out of that kid's way and quit being crazy lady. I just don't know what else to say about that.
Yeah. Because here we are. We're not discussing the really good level of high school players performing at their best level, their sport. We're not even talking about that. We're talking about the show, the sideshow, right? We're talking about this mother who came and attacked minors. Right. Not only should that be stopped, but let's just remove all of that, because clearly you have some emotions that you can't self-control. Let's remove all of that and let's look at your pride and joy. And that's supposed to be your child. If I felt like I was holding Reagan's modeling career back, and honestly, when I was the Republican voice on this show, it was something that I had to let her know, look, this is what I'm doing. Because, you know, her world is very liberal. If I thought I was holding her back, I would not do this. I wouldn't do anything. If you love your kid, you need to self-control yourself. You cannot attack minors. And let me tell you something. You attack my girl or my son, and it will be the last time, because not only will I fight back and fight you hand to hand, but then I have enough power and I have enough resources that I will sue the ever-loving heck out of the school because you put me in that position. Because we're all talking about this. So this woman's done this how many times, guys?
I know at least 3 incidents, you know. This
is crazy. So I've got proof that the schools are still allowing this. I mean, honestly, there's liability here. Let her haul off and hit your daughter.
Well, I just be honest with you. Like I was saying earlier, I couldn't compute what was going on down the sideline. And Jimmy, what did I do?
He got up and walked out. Like he was out. Like he was standing out on the side.
Then I recognized where Haley was. I kind of figured out what was going on. But I promise you, she gets around my daughter, she's be a toothless crazy person.
Look at Josh. Do you guys know about this incident that Josh comments about? Thank you, Josh, for letting us know.
Oh my God.
At a middle school game. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and point out the elephant that's in the room. We're talking about somebody who has no self-control and who has clear mental issues. Right. This is a menace to society. This is somebody who we're talking about, an adult. I don't know her, don't even know her name. You said it was I don't remember. Did you say it was Dingus? And Dingus is our boy, though, right?
Dingus is our kid, yeah.
And whoever this other kid is, don't even know her name, don't care. All I need to know is that you look like you're 50 and you're attacking. Now, I do know the girl, the Harless girl. I know her family. They're good people. You're attacking a girl who has got to be 16 or 17. Right. This is why I don't need to go to these games.
Well, we get fired up.
But daggone Martin County kids. Was daggone Martin County people.
Well, and here's the other thing, too, which was kind of crazy. And I said, just because they're trashing us, right? They're trashing us, the Martin County people online. After all this goes down, that was instigated by them. Then their cheerleaders come out. They do their cheer. Our side claps for their cheerleaders, right? We cheer.
Because they're kids.
And then now I'm talking about the Martin County contingent that was there on that side. The pep section was the other side. Well, then the cheerleaders come out. Our pep section turn their back to them. It's what you're supposed to do, right? It's the kids at the school. You turn your back to them. Their kids do the same thing. Sure. Our cheerleaders go out and cheer, and the entire side boos our cheerleaders. So our side stands up and starts screaming right for our cheerleaders,
Yeah.
doing the cheer. It was awesome, actually.
Right.
But it just, again, it kind of goes back to the type of respect
Yeah.
that one side showed the other, but yet the other side is projecting what they did onto us,
Yes.
essentially.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just an interesting dichotomy about how that stuff works.
Right.
About,
This reflects on parenting back here. This reflects solely on parenting back here.
But what is it, Don, though? What is it that everywhere they go, it's the same school base that gets all the complaints on it? No matter, everybody hates to see Paintsville.
It's the same, and I'm not being mean, but it's the same with Tennessee Vol fans and Ohio State fans. They have this reputation of being wild too, but you have other fan bases that are able to handle it. Honestly, it's usually people geographically, they live in the same area and they have the same culture and they have the same mindset. So, and back here, everybody is on the defensive all the time. Everybody's got a chip on their shoulder all the time. So when you have one side that's clapping for kids and they're being adults and they're recognizing that the Paintsville cheerleaders are teenagers, they're just children themselves, so let's be supportive of them. I have no problem with the pep section turning away because they're all the same age. I would rather them have them turn their backs than cuss them and things like that.
Sure.
But the fish starts rotting at the head. If you've got parents acting like this woman who attacks teens, don't be surprised when your kids move out of here, because I'm here to tell you, you've got an 80% chance that your kids move out of here because there are no jobs back here and nothing keeping them back here. The majority are going to have to go somewhere. They're either going to go to Lexington, they're going to go to Tennessee, they're going to go somewhere. When they go outside of here and they act like she acted, you will be going and bailing your kids out. You cannot act so uncivil all the time. And you're right, JD, there is a cluster, and it seems to be happening with this one fan base. Calm
JD,
down.
Did you hear, JD, that the radio broadcast, they actually had to apologize on air for the language that was coming out? And guess what fan base was sitting behind them?
Paintsville.
So it was, and they had to apologize because that's what was happening over there. And like I said, they let those kids play in that game. Okay, they let them play. They didn't call a foul.
But
they called maybe 1 or 2 fouls in the first half.
It's tournament time. It's tournament time. We're supposed. It's time to let them play.
Let them play.
I agree.
Yeah, and so, but I don't know. It was kind of crazy, and I just think that's interesting.
This is a lot crazy. It's a lot crazy.
The one thing I thought that it was the funniest thing to me, and I almost made a post about that too. And we need to talk about that. I thought, man, the Trump supporters are going to be really happy with our pep section. You know what I'm talking about, Jimmy Don?
Oh, yeah.
After the incident happened, our pep section started going, lock her up.
Yeah, they're right.
I was like, oh, my God. Yeah. I'm wearing Trump rally.
Yeah.
Now, listen, Don, the highlight of my week was the McGoffin County pep section in the first game of the districts in the boys game. The McGoffin County pep section starts going, we've got water to us, right?
First off, we're beating the brakes off of them.
And we're beating them to death. Like, we're beating McGoffin County to death. But their
pep section was still doing a really good job.
They were doing a great job.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they really were. Like, I got to give them, prop. And they were like, we've got water. And then our kids respond to that with, we're not cousins. And because that's always been the thing over in Sayersville. And I turned around and gave JD a high five. I was like, well done, kids. McGoffin County and Martin County. Well done.
And I'm pissing myself, just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
It is funny on both sides. And I'd rather see them doing stuff like that than, like I said, cussing. But again, Martin County is the same as McGoffin County. We have those things that you know what I'm saying?
It's the same thing.
Yeah. I would much rather see that. I'm still hung up on the fact that we are washing over. I know not we as us, but we as a community are washing over that there is an adult out there that approaches and instigates and verbally attacks teenagers. Where's the law enforcement?
Not verbally attacks them.
Oh, and physically, yeah. Josh said that she attacked a kid in the parking lot.
Yeah, last year at the Expo Center. Mm-hmm. She caught a couple rounds for that one, though.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, there was she got some return fire on that one from a mom here trying to defend the kids.
Good.
And the thing is what was funny, JD, is it wasn't even that kid that she was after. It was a different kid. She was just mistaken who he was and jumped on his back. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that part.
Yep. Yeah, the Davis
Wow.
kid, the one that talks so much trash. You remember Parker that talks so much trash on the floor?
Yeah.
And like he was the kid, like he was real cocky. Like when Paintsville would be on one end and they're huddled up, he would go stand in their huddle. You know, like he was that kid. He talked trash the whole time. And like I said, the Fugit kid talks trash too. Sure. But he can back it up. He can play.
I mean, I can be trashy if I need to. I can run with trash. I can run with, non-trash or whatever. But let me tell you, stuff like this does not happen in areas to where you have more education, you have more money, you have more of everything. When you act this way, you're literally feeling the stereotype that everybody has on us. Sure. Every time I took a college class, when somebody asked me where I was from, they literally said, "Oh, you're going to have a hard time." They completely negated my education that I got from Martin County. And you want to know how I responded? Mad. I've got that chip on my shoulder just like everybody else does. Oh, it made me mad. It made me mad. I'm ready to engage. I'm offended. I'm personally offended. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then you have to figure out how to beat people without giving them what they already believe. Stop acting this way. And to the mom who is ruining your kid's reputation, I don't know your kid from Adam, but I can tell you, if I thought that one of my girls was going to be courted by a boy that had a crazy mom, I would be like, sorry.
I didn't even think about it on that level, right? Like whoever the family is of the girl that dates this kid, that's, mother-in-law.
You have to, yeah. Ooh. I mean, what if Ashton dated somebody who is raised like that? And then let's say they get into a fight. Is she going to attack her daughter-in-law? I mean, you have to think about this. You're ruining every chance that this kid has at normalcy. This is viewed. I know we don't have a lot of live viewers on Facebook because it's Sunday night, but it's viewed hundreds of times. It is shot down to Tennessee. Rick Barnes and them, I know them at the country club and stuff like that. What if he was going to be recruited to a school like that?
That would just kill his chances, actually. I mean,
it would. You're a coach, JD. What would you do? You'd be like,
I've seen college coaches walk out of games, football games and baseball games for much less.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Much less.
Because they ain't gonna put up with a whole lot because they're out here looking at these athletes. They're looking for the whole package, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you got a great athlete, but you've got a family that comes with it, that's not what you want. Well, you'll just go find another great athlete that's got a good family life. That's just part of it. And it's a shame because that kid's a player.
We're so much smarter than that back here. We really are. We've got to let go of this Hatfield-McCoy mindset to where we're going to fight everything. Stop it. And let me ask this
question. Let me ask this question because this is another thing about being from Eastern Kentucky that I think is interesting, right? And it kind of goes along with what we're talking about. And like even in our county, and you'll see it like within our county, we can fight with each other. It's insane the things we fight about. But then you start talking about us, our entire county will come after you.
I'll kill you.
Our entire county.
Let me tell you, yes. If you talk about Paintsville, if I'm in Knoxville and they talk about Paintsville or Prestonsburg, Pikeville, Martin County, if you talk about anything to do with the state of Kentucky, oh, here comes that chip. I'm ready to roll with you.
Well, it's the same thing. When you talk about us as a region,
of course, then
the entire region will come after you.
Yeah.
It's like, it's very odd. Like I've always found that funny. It's like we will do things to each other and tear each other down and do all that. But you come after us, I got to watch out. We're coming, and same thing as the region. I get mad. I don't care if I'm somewhere and they start talking about Johnson County. It makes me mad.
Yeah.
Because those are my people. I don't care if we live, 20 minutes apart. Those are my people.
That's it. That's how I am too. Oh, I can sit here and scold Paintsville and I can scold Martin County. I can scold the mom and everything else. But if it boils down to it, if you like pack us together against people from Lexington or something like that, I'm going to come over to the Eastern Kentucky side every time, 1,000 times over. I do not forget my roots. I know we're all a little crazy. We just have to hide it a little bit.
Yeah, we need to hide a little bit.
That's the deal. But we can't be proud of it, ladies. We don't walk around. Put that thing in the closet sometimes and get it out. Not the high school ball games.
Yeah. I mean, we put it on the porch and give it sweet tea and we're like, let's go. We can't do that. So we're just going to have to class it up a little bit because we got the internet now, y'all, and people see this.
Right. Exactly. Right. No, that's hilarious. No, and it's just funny. We'll move on. But I thought that was, we were all kind of talking about it is, we're very, very proud of our teams. I'm so proud of the way our kids, and what's funny too, guys, is the kids on the floor are fighting a war, right? They're playing against each other, fighting a war, and they don't really get that upset at each other.
Sure.
They're just competing.
And
It's the fans that get all tore up, and it's the
Yeah.
sidebar. It's not what these kids on the floor. They were talking trash to each other. It's a ball game. That's what you do.
Yeah.
But when it
Yeah.
was over, they all shook hands and went about their way.
Yeah, we do that in West Knoxville. It's other parts of Knoxville that, get all the law shows up and all that. And you just don't want to be associated with that. But I do want to say, I hope that the little boy that broke his ribs, the Fugate kid, I hope he does well. I hope he heals. Prayers for him. Good luck to Martin County on their next game. But Mama, settle it down. Pack that in, or you're going to run up against a mom that's going to meet you, or maybe not even a mom there of any kid
right
there.
now, Mom or not, you touch my daughter,
You roll up on me. Yeah. Oh, and then you'd for surely go to jail.
I'm not about hitting women, but now you touch my 16-year-old daughter, we're gonna have some problems. I promise you.
Yeah.
This is somebody's here to see some bourbon glasses. Yeah, I don't.
Amanda, honey, I ain't drinking no bourbon tonight. I'm hungover. I ain't drinking.
I eat bourbon ice cream. That's about what I do. Todd drinks bourbon though.
No, but it was fun. I'm excited for our kids this week. I'm excited for our community because, like I said, Martin County was out strong. That entire side was packed out and stood up and cheered. I know Ashton said that when Paintsville was bullying them, that it was really cool because our entire side, everybody was standing up, cheering, and and it made them feel good. All right, cool. It's exciting for our kids. It's one of the best times of their lives, man, is to get out in high school and compete and be on the sidelines and cheer and do all those things. And then it gets run for about, 5 minutes with, somebody acting crazy. And I agree with what Don said.
Yeah.
Just put it back just a little bit, bit. I appreciate the passion for your children. I do. I appreciate it. Because I would be, JD's right. Somebody touches Ashton, I don't care if you're a man, woman, whatever, you're getting knocked out. It doesn't matter. But at the same, wait a minute, hold on here.
I love her. Yeah, that's exactly right, JD. There you go.
Take her right on a date when she bends over, pull that stick out.
Or let one
That's not pull sticks out. Ain't what I do one day Tuesday.
yeah. We get really raunchy right now, man. I'm gonna move this conversation over. So, but I think that was, I think it's interesting because it is an interesting dichotomy of our area and the things that it says deeper. So,
I say one thing about the post I made I made a post about the McGoffin County chants.
Oh yeah,
and I pissed some people off.
Really?
Oh man, they were so upset, and I didn't even say the thing. I was just relating what happened. It's like, oh, do you really think people from McGoffin County are married to their cousins? No. Do you really think we don't have water over here?
Yeah. Do you really think we don't have water?
Yeah, I saw the post. Yeah, people get. You can find offense in everything, right? Sometimes you just got to go. It's a game. There's passion, and these were children. They weren't like cussing or fighting like the adults. So again,
it was awesome. I loved it. I like it when the kids go back and forth. And we even have a shirt like they did that. Pikeville did that to us a couple of years ago
in the regional.
And we actually that's when we won the regional tournament, and we didn't get to go to state because of COVID. Is when all that was going down. But we actually had shirts made that said it must be our water. Because I know the kids were clapping back at the pep section at Pikeville. We're clapping back saying it must be our water, because they yelled at them all night. But it was fun. Like I said, I love everything about the district tournament. Like I love everything about it. It's so much fun. I can't wait to go to the regions.
The state of play was very good this year too.
It was.
Really, there's good ball teams in this district.
Some good ball teams in our district, absolutely. Like I said, and good. I know we've been banging on Paintsville, but Paintsville's got one of the best ball teams in Eastern Kentucky. Like they really do. They're good. That Fugate kid is a stud. His brother's a stud. The kid that plays point is a stud.
Yeah.
We just so happen to have one too. We got the best player in the region. As our point guard.
And we got some good kids around him too, man.
Yeah, and we got some good kids around him. I said, everybody, what our team has done, I don't mean to get into this, but I'm so proud of our basketball team, specifically the boys team. The girls team has been good all year.
Yeah.
And have just gotten better. But our boys team has gotten better every single game. It's insane. We just beat Lawrence County the other night. Lawrence County is one of the best teams in the region. Sure. And we beat them the other night. We beat Paintsville. We just keep getting better. And I'm excited for the regional tournament. I think we legit got a shot to go to the
state. The boys and the girls. Yeah.
We can win the region or we can lose the first round.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, but I think we got a legit shot. So anyway, all right. So let's go and do what we normally do, and we'll talk about a little national politics. And I think the item of the week is Russia, right? Russia attacked Ukraine, and there's just been it's kind of heart wrenching in a sense. That you've seen the people of Ukraine really stand up. I think Russia's had a lot harder time than they anticipated going in there. And Zelensky may be my favorite person of all time right now.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Just for what he's having to do. And it's just so different, right? Do you think that Joe Biden, which obviously Biden's 80, but let's say Trump, if Trump was president, or George Bush, that they're going to say, get me a gun, get me some ammo, and go out and defend what's happening?
I think none of those people would.
None of them, Democrat or Republican. I think Bush served, but that was it. And then he got out early or something like that.
There was actually a meme about this with Zelensky wanting to stay and fight, and it said, "Ted Cruz, what happens when the power grid goes out in Texas?"
Yeah, it's
Mexico.
Country. Yeah, we're spoiled for sure. But I mean, what do we think? There's been a lot. I mean, I hear some conspiracy theory stuff, which is always fun. That basically we're allowing this to happen, and Russia's going in there so that they can clear out all the stuff that Hunter Biden had done. They're getting rid of all that.
My friends don't tell me anything like that. I don't hear anything like that.
Yeah, but because we're not crazy.
I don't know. I backed off of some of the conspiracy theorists because hell, they shot at least 80% with COVID.
Yeah, they did, and they shot 80% too with some of the Russia stuff. So, like I said, with the RussiaGate stuff, I mean that's kind of come out to
listen to me though. If you throw so much shit on the wall, something's going to have to stick.
I will say though that
always all the crazy stuff they say, none of it's come to pass. Like, and it's like, of course you're right on some things. Some things you want to get right. You got to.
Well, remember they said Trump was going to be like reinstated like 2 or 3 times and on a throne or something. I mean, all that stuff got a little wild.
That's all nonsense.
We have to admit, I can tell you this. Harvard put out a study, and 62% of Americans believe that we would not even be in this position if we did have President Trump. What do you guys think about that?
I think you're right. I think they're absolutely right. I think we'd probably be on the other side. We'd probably go with Russia right now.
Oh no,
that's
that don't even make sense.
Of course it does. And he tried to destroy NATO. Of course it makes sense.
Well, no, here's the thing.
He didn't try to destroy NATO. That's just so dead. Democrats are beating that like a dead horse.
That's a Democratic conspiracy theory.
It's crazy.
Dead.
Trump literally Trump complained that the other countries in NATO were not putting in as much money as we are, and it's a fact. They're not.
Right. They're not the size of us either.
They're not, but it doesn't matter. If you join NATO, you commit at least 2%, and nobody was doing that. But now today, except for us. So Trump is basically saying, hey, if we're all a member of this subdivision that I'm sitting in and we're going to make a club, we all are going to agree to put in X amount of dollars. And me and Todd are the only ones putting in X amount of dollars. And it's not really a club. It's mine and Todd's club. And that's what he was saying with NATO. But now Germany today, or was it last night? Germany has now committed their percentage. All of a sudden, they're like, "Oh, okay, now I'm going to start."
Because they got somebody that's working with them instead of attacking them. Probably. I mean, maybe don't know that. Maybe.
Oh, no.
All I know is that when Trump was in office and the NATO guys, all those countries were alienated. We are stronger as if we are not alienated if we're working together. Do we all agree with that?
They were alien. Oh, I'm sure they were alienated.
I agree with that.
Yes, we're totally stronger working together, and of course they'd be
alienated. But they need to pull their end, which is
they have to pull.
Too.
There you go.
I agree with that.
So that's where Republicans do it too, but that's where Democrats are running with this whole. He tried to destroy NATO. He did not. He said, "I'm not going to be a part of NATO if I'm doing it all." Anybody would do that. If you were a part of a club and you were the only one putting in all of the effort and all the money, you would go, "I'm not doing this. This isn't fair. I can stand on my own 2 feet. I don't have to do this because, honestly, we can."
Right. Well,
and that's what alienated them.
Go ahead, JD.
I don't know that we really can though. With as far as NATO is concerned, NATO was designed to stop the progression of Russian influence, right? So without those people being on board and having bases there, we really can't. We got to have those guys.
And they did.
I understand the frustration of wanting everybody to pull the weight, and I'm all about everybody pulling their weight. Yeah. But I'm also all about let's all work together and make it work in a way that makes sense for everybody.
Yeah, and I agree with that, JD. And but what I guess my contention is, and what Trump was saying was that everybody needs to pull their weight. We will be a part of this, but there's no need for us to be a part of it if we're the only ones that are kicking in.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't have no problem.
Yeah, and I agree with you too. I mean, that's the thing is, I think Trump was right, and I personally don't think that we would be in this situation at all if Trump was president.
So you think
China is looking to take Taiwan too? And
so what would be different?
The fear that Trump would do something crazy. Like, I mean, nothing new popped off while Trump was president, and Trump didn't treat Russia like they were the enemy. He tried to work with Putin, but he was a Russian spy because he did that.
He was a Russian spy because he was making unsecured phone calls to Putin while he's in the White House.
Well, Hillary destroyed her server, threw it and did her own thing. Everybody's doing that. We're getting off track on that.
Go ahead.
It point blank boils down to the majority, Democrat and Republican. This wasn't one party that was polled. This was Americans, no matter their ideology, no matter their tribes, no matter their party, agree that we would not be this far if Trump was president. It's kind of like this mom at this basketball game. We all know she's crazy, right? So if you were going to go up and say something to her son, aren't you going to kind of be a little hesitant because you don't know if she's going to come flying out of the stands or not? That's exactly how Trump did it. It was his erratic behavior and his mouth and stuff. And honestly, I don't think we'd be here either if Trump was president.
I'm glad he's not there. I'm glad we don't have any
Republican.
I'm glad he's not them because I don't want an erratic leader. I don't want an erratic leader with the nuclear codes. I don't.
No, I agree. I don't want a Reddick either, but I also don't want a Green New Deal war either. And had the Democrats let go of all this climate change stuff, we wouldn't be so beholden to Russia, and neither would Europe.
But none of that would have stopped Putin from going into Kyiv right now. It wouldn't have stopped Russia for Putin to fantasize over Ukraine. He's going to go in Ukraine. It doesn't matter who's president. And I don't want a president who's going to go shoot a nuclear bomb off if Putin does go over there. I can't really see anything that Biden has done wrong. He worked hard with our allies. He worked hard to do diplomatic work because war is not the first option. We want to have diplomatic solutions.
Yeah.
I think Biden has done an excellent job myself.
No, Biden has done a puke ass job completely. First off, he cut all of our energy independence completely down. Now he's scrambling, trying to get other countries. He's actually talking to Europe and going, "Hey, can you get oil from here? Can you get oil from there?" Nobody can get the amount of oil that they need in such a short period of time. Russia played this out.
That's a 40-year.
It absolutely does. It absolutely does. It absolutely does. No, I'm talking about climate change. All we do is we hump the climate over here. And here's the thing. Somebody said to me, I think it was Todd, and he said, even if I'm not the one that butchers the cow, if I'm sitting at the table and I'm still eating the steak, I'm still guilty. We can cut out and we can say, we're not going to use oil and we're not going to frack and we're not going to do this. We're not going to do any of that. But then we turn around and we have to import it from another country. That's hypocritical. Europe did the same thing. We all started humping this climate change stuff. We made Greta Thunberg our leader of it. And we're like, we're not going to worry about any of this. Well, now Europe relies on Russia for 40% of their energy. Europe cannot come down on Putin as hard as they need to, or their people are going to be out of everything.
So that's Biden's fault some way?
Yes.
That's why I'm telling you.
I'm going to stretch it. I'm going to stretch it. Yeah. No, I'm going to stretch it even bigger. It's the Democrats' fault. They have a big hand in that.
It's the Democrats' fault that Europe is relied on Russia. Okay.
Yes, because have you ever heard of the G6 and the French thing? And
have you ever heard of SWIFT? You know how oil was sold on the global market?
Yes, I know that. You're talking about SWIFT. Are you talking about SWIFT, the one that you're leaving carving out all the holes that we're not going to pull Russia completely out of? That's
they're trying to.
Hell yeah,
there ain't
no trial. Nobody will. Europe won't do it. They can't. If they totally tick Russia completely off, what happens to their energy?
That's what I'm trying to tell you, Don. That's what you're. I don't know. Let's see. They don't have the infrastructure to do it. It's not because of Biden is now the president for the last year and a half. It's because they have an infrastructure problem. They haven't fixed. And they haven't had a long time. They haven't had a long-term solution to get away from Russia. Knowing good and well that they're relying on Russia for all this oil.
Oh my God.
So the hell is that's Biden's fault? I am completely clueless on it.
Do you guys remember when Trump pulled us out of the French initiative. He wouldn't go over there and talk about climate change, and the Democrats lost their minds.
Sure.
Do y'all remember that? Biden put us back in. When you join climate control and climate change clubs like that one with other countries, you all agree that we're going to cut carbon emissions down X numbers each year. We, Biden and the Democrats, signed us up for that immediately and they praised it. They went on TV and they're like, we're entering back in. Right. It is good. I'm not saying let's destroy the climate, but I'm saying we have to decide on when we make these carbon emission and we make all these climate moves, we have to remember that the whole entire world, we're so narcissistic over here that we really honestly believe that everybody believes the way we do, and they don't. So when we say that we're going to cut energy and we're going to go to electric vehicles and all this bullcrap that we say, it's great to think that if everybody else is going to do that. But see, they don't. So Russia is like, hell, you all can have all that. And what I'll do is I will sell you what you need, because it's going to take years to get to renewable energy.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what it should
So
be
Russia, I know that people don't like this, but when you hear Republicans, and I've heard some Democrats acknowledge Putin's intellect, it is smart for him to say, let's throw out a bunch of climate change stuff and get everybody warring in the Western countries about climate change, and they'll make policy to cut this stuff down. When they do that, I'm going to be sitting over here and I'm going to be ready to sell you what you need, because it's going to take years, right? So I'm going to sell you this, and that's going to put me in a position of power, because now I can do whatever I want to do and you can't do anything, or I clip it. I clip your energy, and then you have your people cold in winter. So I'm going to
get in here. So the problem is, Don, it's not like it just started selling us oil when we decided we was going to start fighting climate change. That's not how it works. We've been buying oil off Russia for decades and decades. So the climate change thing ain't got nothing to do with Europe not having infrastructure to get off the oil and the wean themselves off that oil. And it sure as shit ain't got nothing to do with Biden or the Democrats.
It absolutely does. We used to be 40% of the world's economy. Now we're around half that, because year after year in presidency.
Also, we've been energy independent since 2014, and that has not changed. Even though everybody's yelling about the Keystone Pipeline we didn't never get a barrel of oil from the Keystone Pipeline.
We still, to this day, are bringing in over 20% of Russian oil into this country, because we shut down everything we could possibly shut down. 20% is a lot. If we lose that, you're going to see prices skyrocket, and we're already in inflation. Democrats want to tell you that we're in inflation because of the Ukrainian war. It's like they think that we haven't lived here for the last year. You know, I mean,
I know. That's the part that cracks me up.
Yeah, it has. I mean, I've been around for this whole year, and prices have been going up, and Ukraine was fine. But no, Biden is at the helm, JD. You have to admit that.
Yes,
you can jump in on me. It doesn't bother me. You can jump in on me anytime, because I know I get long-winded. But Biden's at the helm. Biden's the president. Biden's the boss. Biden's the one that made sure that we put weak sanctions in behind the 8 ball. We were telling people
Biden can't make sanctions by himself. Again, you got to work with NATO. That's how NATO works. You can't sanction Russia by yourself, because oil is sold on the global market. You can't do it by yourself. You got to have work. You got to be in the union. You got to be in
understand
NATO.
that.
But who's the big dog?
No. But you said Biden put in weak sanctions.
He did.
NATO
put
in weak sanctions.
Biden and NATO put in weak sanctions.
Who's the big dog in NATO?
Nothing.
We
are.
We're going to make all the decisions, bro. That's not how it works. That's not how it works.
Big dog. We
have the most influence. Yes, thank you. We have the most influence. It's just like Martin County politics. We know that there's one man in that county that has the most influence because he has the most money. That's how it works in the real big world too. In NATO, you have one big, heavy hitting country, and that's us. We have the most influence. And again, when you have a president goes on TV and he's like, oh my gosh, we didn't see this coming, but you've been telling us that we've seen this coming. So why didn't we do sanctions months ago? Heavy sanctions. Look,
it's like, but you all you think Trump would have us in a better spot after he goes and compliments Putin on saying it's smart.
I'm not.
Dude, I
smart.
listened to that interview. That's complete garbage. I was actually listening to the interview.
That's just spun.
He didn't say he was smart. He would say he was smart for doing that.
We did say it was
all
smart.
Right. So I'm going to tell you right now.
No, stop. In context.
I got context. Go ahead.
I listened to the whole thing.
He said he's smart for doing that. Getting these.
He was saying he played Biden, JD.
I know that's what he's saying.
He played Biden.
But going in Ukraine was a lot of things, but smart would be one of the words I'd use to describe it.
I'm gonna interject myself in here. Let me tell you guys. Let me tell you guys something. I don't know how the Democrats made that a story. I really don't.
I know, it's hilarious.
Calling Putin shrewd and intelligent and all of these things, it is fact. He is absolutely smart and shrewd. It doesn't mean that I'm on his team. I can acknowledge, I'm not so threatened to be able to look at somebody and hate and despise all of their ideas and not be able to say they're smart. But honestly, this is not, I don't even know why we're talking about that.
Because we said that you all felt you could be in a better spot if the guy who's complimenting Putin was in control.
Look, dude,
62% of Americans
feel that way, but I don't care about those.
And it'll be bigger next week when they redo the poll. And remember, this poll was done by Harvard.
Well, we believe
left-leaning school.
I don't. But all right, let me say this real quick, JD. And here's how. This is why I believe what I believe. Okay, Putin could have invaded Russia at any time. I mean, Putin could have invaded Ukraine at any time, right?
Yeah.
He had 4 years with Trump, didn't do it.
Right.
Biden's been president for a year, and he does. And now you got China looking to take over Taiwan. Why? Because they know the Democratic policy is weak. And it was.
You also have China. You also had China already telling Russia to leave Ukraine alone. It's a way different. We're talking about two way different things, man. Taiwan. Do we know the Taiwan signed a contract to leave China for 99 years and then to come back under the province of China? We know that, right?
Yes.
So they have a little bit more legitimacy of bringing Taiwan back in than what Putin's doing in Europe. It's way two different things. Taiwan's their own country. Well, they're fine. And when it comes to Russia, you made a statement that NATO's job was to stop Russian progression. Well, they've done a fine job. True. No, they haven't, JD. They literally took over Crimea just under Obama. The only time the last 50 years they've lost the game 20 miles. Look, it's going to take more than 5 and 10 years for Russia to build back to what they want to build back to. If we don't start heavy-handing them right now, 5 years from now, we're going to have the same argument when Russia is attacking Poland or Romania or something like that. Tyrants don't stop. Putin will not stop. The problem is the Democratic policy is weak. So what should he have done differently? Tell me. First and foremost, we need to be energy independent. We need to be able to stand on our own. We are energy independent. We are not. We have been since 2014, Don. Oh my God!
You can't be energy independent, JD, if you're still importing oil from Russia.
We've been doing that
over 20%. We've always
imported oil
just from Russia. Over 20%.
We imported oil from. We're not buying any more oil from Russia now than we were in 2017 or 18. Okay, well, or 19, okay. So we're not going to agree on that. So let's remove that from the table and let's pick another. So now let's pick another one. It is not. We're absolutely not energy independent. Everybody watching knows also, this. We've never have been then. We never have been. Because we're not buying anymore.
So let's remove that because all we're going to do is argue about that. So let's say this. Do you think that Biden should at least kick him completely out of SWIFT or at least cut him off diplomatically? I would like to see that. We should have never emptied our embassy in Ukraine. I would have never done that. I would have kept my people there and I would have set troops there and I said, F around, find out. That's what I'd have said. But see, I can pull out that chip on my shoulder crazy like you all could. Right. I don't want to get World War III. I really don't. Nobody wants to, but nobody wants lots of things. So I want to work with the diplomatic solutions. For now, Ukraine, the embassy out of Ukraine is not a big deal to me. But I do want to show strength. I want to kick him out of SWIFT. I don't think he should have been allowed on the boards at all, but that's just me. Nobody wants war. Nobody wants war. But
so can I spin this just a little bit? And this is just something for me personally that's happened this past week. And it kind of goes back to some conversations that JD and I'd had, I think it was Don, even before you were on the podcast. And it's about being under Democratic leadership and our economy. And it is funny, because I think it's funny too, Don, that all of a sudden this inflation with gas and all this started because Russia invaded Ukraine, and not that it hadn't been going on for 6 months. Dude,
They did.
she said it. The press secretary said it.
Yeah, she said it.
Started,
Yes.
I think we all understand the context again, Jimmy Don, is that they was going to boost the inflation. I mean,
no,
guys,
it's 100% going to boost it on what it
we're
is
talking
already.
about. What's so funny is we've got global inflation, and y'all are trying to blame the Democrats and Biden. Like this.
Here's
The
all I can tell you,
Democrats
brother.
have flooded us with money. Free. Here's
That is
money.
not
Here's money.
what's
Here's
causing
money.
inflation.
Yes,
And
dude,
then-
it's 100% what causes
And,
inflation.
yes, and then our economy.
100%. It's basic
So,
economics.
so these
brother.
corporations are making record sales and record profits. They're dropping production at OPEC and raising the prices, but it's Democratic policy. Gotcha.
Okay, he's
All
got
right,
it. So let's
but
move on.
let me spin this a little bit though, and this is a personal thing, and it's something that JD and I talked about. My biggest fear about the Democratic control of our country and the way that things were under Trump is the price increases. I mean, we talked about this inflation and things going up before Biden was president. That's my biggest fear, and I've told JD that 100 times. It's taxes,
Texas.
it's things like that scare me. Well, it's happening. And last week, I had a company contact me about buying me out and me coming to work for them. And for the first time in my career, I'm having to consider it.
Mm-hmm.
And I never had to do that. I was under Trump, and the way things were going, I was considering expanding some more.
Right.
Now I can't do that. I'm going to have to consider. I was talking to some people the other night, small business owners that I talked to are having to consider selling out or closing their doors because of the state of our economy right now. And what's going to happen is there's still going to be a need there, right? We still need gas stations. We still need mortgage companies. We still need all those things.
Sure.
But instead of small business people like me, you're going to have this is a big company that wants to buy me out and wants me to run this market for them.
Right.
I don't want to do that, but I might have to do that to survive. And there are people all over our area, anyway, those are the ones that I'm talking to, that because of this inflation, because of all these things that are happening, they're going to have to shut their doors or sell out. And it's a scary time. And I know that we talk about Russia and we talk about all those things. It's a scary time right here.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first time, I've been asked to be bought out 4 or 5 different times, never even remotely considered it.
Right.
I'm having to consider it because of the state of things right now and trying to secure my family.
Right.
And that is a direct result. That didn't happen. That's what I was telling you, JD. Like what I see, the reason I think what I think is Putin could have invaded Ukraine anytime. And he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
He is now.
Right.
Prices, I've never considered selling my business before. Never even considered it.
Right.
Now I have to because of the state of things. I didn't have to do that under Trump. I'm having to do this under Biden. And I actually survived Obama. It was bad under Obama, but now I'm having to consider it because it's not just taxes. It's this inflation, and it is killing people. And that's the part that is really scary. And that's real world. I mean, that's not us just hypothesizing about things that are happening and having a discussion. This is happening to me right now.
Right.
And it's happening to a bunch of small business people that I'm talking to. And and it is a real concern. And you know what's going to happen is we're all going to disappear, and these big corporations who we all hate,
They're going to run everything.
are going to run it all. And and in some ways, I feel like it's by design. And I don't know. Like I said, and that's conspiracy. I'm a conspiracy theorist. I like that stuff. But it almost feels like it's by design. But it hits really close to home. And and that's I haven't slept in 2 or 3 days just because I'm sitting here trying to figure out what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And if I decide to try to keep my company and determine long term that I'm going to make more money in 15 years when I'm ready to sell, when I want to sell, it's going to take everything I got to survive it.
Right.
I got Ashton wanting to go to Vanderbilt. I have to figure something out. And so, but that's real world problems. And that is my biggest thing, JD, when JD and I know we talk about this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
But that is a real world problem.
And that's just in the finance area.
That's just here.
In the healthcare area, we're the same. Under Trump, we just went to work and we did our thing. And during COVID, it got crazy. And then here come all these vaccine mandates, and they're not lifted off of healthcare workers. And that has caused an influx of around 10-15% of people going to the house. So now you have tons more patients and you have a lot more work, and the quality of care is going down. That did not happen under Republican policy. That happened solely under Democrat mandates.
Yeah, because we didn't have a vaccine. I mean, that's totally, those are not apples to apples, really. In my opinion.
It's not. No, because we're sharing how Democrat policies have impacted our lives, and because we have vaccine mandates, that has harmed us in the healthcare industry. So it's a fact.
That's a fair thing to say, but I could say this as a rebuttal. Is that if we'd not had those mandates, you don't know how many lives we've saved with those mandates. And we'll never know. We'll never, ever know that. So,
we're talking specifically about healthcare. Now, I'm not talking about.
I'm talking about healthcare workers.
I'm pro-vaccine. Let me be clear. I think people need to get vaccinated. Okay, I've made that clear. But now we have real-world data that vaccinated spread, and it hasn't stopped for us. So if they decide that we need 6 more vaccines, then I have to watch everybody get 6 more vaccines. That has harmed healthcare. That has caused us one caveat. That's just one part that has caused us to have heaps of problems in the healthcare world. And what we're sharing with you is how this presidency has created problems for us as individuals, as families, people that you know. That is what's hurting Biden. I read another article the other day that said that and I need to admit this to you, JD, and Jimmy Don, I have said on here how many times that I thought that Trump would never be able to win again. And JD said, "You're crazy. Trump would totally win." Do you remember that, JD?
And I thought that to begin with. I don't know. I know you changed your mind.
Yeah, I've changed my mind because we've gotten so wild that and it scares me. You all know I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not a Trump hater. I'm a Republican. I'm a conservative libertarian. I'm that girl. It scares me to think that we're going to just keep swinging from two extremes. And
me too.
It really does. It scares me.
Out.
Yeah,
I don't want Trump back. I don't. I don't want
the fighting. I don't want that.
So I was going to say what I said before, that we don't know how many lives these vaccines have saved. We understand they've caused hardships on healthcare workers, I know specifically, and they've caused people to walk out of their jobs and all these things because a lot of it's caused the crazy conspiracy theories. I get that too. I understand it. But we don't know how many lives we've saved with the vaccine. Even though we force it on people, we don't have that number. It's not a tangible number, right? We just don't know. So they sided on the side of forcing to have the vaccine. Was that a good decision? Some people say yes, some people say no. I really don't know where I even stand on that. Jimmy, on your point about small businesses hurting, man, people have been saying this when and I hate to go back to this, but when we freed the slaves in back in the 1860s, the farmer said, "Oh, you'll run us out of business if you free the slaves. We won't have that labor. You put us out of business." And then in the 1920s, when Franklin Roosevelt, or 1930s, when Franklin Roosevelt did the child labor law, they said, "Oh, if you take away our child labor, we'll never be able to afford to stay in business." And so it's the same. And guess what? People stayed in business. They found a way, and small businesses continue to go. So if taxes being raised and inflation happening, taxes aren't going to go down, man. As we go forward, taxes are going to go up, and inflation's always going to go up. It's not coming back down. That's not how it works.
But here's my
so
argument.
We got to. So we understand that people are going to go up. People are going to lose businesses, probably, man. I get it. I hope
people have lost businesses. But here's the deal, though, JD.
And people lost businesses when Trump was the president too. It can't help that. People lose business. Business go out of business.
That's if you mismanage your business. It's when the outside influences are affecting. And here's the thing. Here's my pushback on that, though, JD. Right. Is you're right in what you're saying. I still disagree that there's a different kind of slavery today. It's called Hispanics and Mexicans that they've let across the border that are working for them. Well, that's how they've been able to survive, because they don't have to. Because they don't have to pay them like they do everybody else. Because I have a lot of liberal beliefs, honestly. But at the same time, there's this contraction every time. Mm-hmm. And it goes back to what you and I have said, and we actually agree here, is that corporate the corporate side of this thing, I don't like. I don't like that Amazon is so big.
Right.
I don't like that Apple is so big.
Yeah.
I don't like that Google is so big. But you know what's going to happen every time this happens? They get bigger. Yeah. And so you're going backwards instead of supporting your small businesses, which is the backbone. That's what built America, was small business. Mm-hmm. Your economics, as far as economics, it was small business. And it's just going, and basically we're going to be a slave to these corporations. We already are in some aspects. And it's happening now. Just it's real world. I'm seeing it. And I have a decision to make. I think I could survive it, right? Like I think I could survive the Biden presidency, but I might not have anything left to survive it. So do I count my losses, sell my business, pocket that money now, continue to work for somebody else when that's not what I really want to do?
Right. That's a big decision, Jimmy Don. And I know,
but I have to think about it. And it's because, it's happening now. It didn't happen under Trump. It almost happened under Obama, but I survived that.
And you're a father and a husband, and you have responsibility to your family. And I know what your style is. Yeah. It's a big decision. I'll definitely pray for you on that. And I feel for you because we're the same way. I've got Reagan who started clinicals, and I was so proud to get her started in healthcare. And now I'm thinking, why am I doing this?
The other thing too, and this blew my mind, Don, was the other night, like I go to a volleyball game, right, with Addison.
Yeah.
And we're coming back, and her and Reagan are with me, and they want a chicken basket from the Dairy Queen. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure, that's fine. So we go and we get 2 chicken baskets, two chicken strip baskets, 3 apiece. Mm-hmm. And then they want a Blizzard and a small Blizzard, and I get a Blizzard myself. So I got 2 chicken baskets that came with drinks and 3 small Blizzards. Would you like to garner a guess of how much that costs?
About $44.
$44.
I know, because I ordered the same thing.
My goodness. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? But that's the only way that those people can survive, right? Is to raise their prices.
Do you know how much?
Right, but that's the same thing. But that's usually I'll talk about the immigrants and stuff. If we don't have those people, those prices don't go down if we don't have those people.
No, you're 100% right. No, you're right about that.
So we're tough. Economics are tough, man. It's a tough balance. I don't know the answer. It's a tough way. What, do you bust up every corporation?
But why are they tough? Why are we having this trouble now? That's where we're kind of getting.
Yeah, it's why now.
Why now?
That's not because of a year and a half of policy. I can tell you that.
It's a year. You're right. It is 2 years of Democrat policy of shut down, don't go to school, don't go anywhere. Everything needs to grind to a halt.
And Don, and now all of a sudden that's over, right?
And it's completely abruptly over. Yeah. I mean, abruptly over. It was, that's exactly where this come from. And Trump was crazy. And don't get me wrong, I've always said, open up, we got to move on, wear a mask indoors, get your vaccine. But once the vaccines rolled out completely, we should have said mask indoors in crowded places, get your vaccine, and then go. But we didn't. We still had insane mandates and shutdowns and rollbacks. And do remember this. Remember when Nancy Pelosi got her hair done when I couldn't get my hair done when everybody was locked down? Remember when you have your LA mayor and your California governor out there?
Yeah.
Right. And that's Democrats. They're telling everybody else that we need to stay and hide and be scared to death. And trust me, you really want to stay away from COVID. I'm not saying that you need to go to the alt-right side and say, hell, it's just a cold. It is not just a cold. JD just had it. He's double vaccinated and a young man, and it kicked you around, didn't it, JD? No. It is not a cold. I'm not saying that by any means. I'm saying that you have one side that pushed it too far, stopped the economy, ground it to a halt. You were thriving 2 years ago, weren't you, Jimmy Don?
Yep.
But the economy's not bad. Is the economy bad?
The economy.
I mean, the inflation's high, but the stock market's higher than it was when Trump left office. And the unemployment rate's lower than it was when Trump left office.
Because those are mega corporations, JD, that are on the stock market.
But
the stock market.
That's what you kept on. The whole time Trump was in office, he was like, "Oh, the stock market's." And now
it was good for 401ks. The 401k stuff's still good, brother. But if you can't live, when Trump was president, you could still live. The problem is now you can't live. All you can go is get gas, and all you can afford is the gas.
Right. Biden's economy looks good because we're opening things back up and things are moving around. Plus, he gave all the money into the economy, and that gave people spending money, and it also contributed to inflation. We all know these things happened. Biden is being really pushed to the progressive side, and it has showed. And it has showed so much that there are reports that when he does his State of the Union address, I think it's next week. Is that when he does it? Next Tuesday? When he does his State of the Union address, you know how the opposing party, the minority party, always gives a rebuttal? So Biden will do his address and the Republicans will get to rebut. This time, Biden will do his address, and you know who's giving the rebuttal? Anybody got a guess?
Right. I guess. I don't know.
No. The Michigan lady, Rahid Talanda, one of the squad. You've got a fractured Democrat party because it's like some I think it might have been Bill Maher said it's like sacking your own quarterback. So you're going to have a Democrat president give his State of the Union. My president's going to talk to me. He's going to talk to you guys and give us information about what he sees, right? And then when he goes off TV, then I have to listen to the rebuttal of the extreme progressive arm. That's insane. And that's where lots of these policies, Joe Biden, President Biden's been in politics now for how long, guys?
60 years. I don't know, a long time. Not 60
years.
50
he
years.
has never acted the way that he's acted in this 1 year. When Biden won, I thought, whew, because he is way better than the others, right? To me, he seemed like he's going to be moderate, and I thought, well, we should be able to choke this down, right? And he has not acted that way. And look
I
at
think
us
he's
now.
definitely been moderate compared to what he could be. But
yeah, compared to the alternatives for sure. But
compared to the alternative for sure.
He's been more left than what anybody
Right.
expected out of. Well, I think he's been more left than what anybody expected out of Biden.
He's been more left than what I expected because I was like, I was kind of like, okay,
I don't think
Biden,
he's been super liberal though. I just don't see that.
Oh,
He's just getting pushed around by that progressive wing, dude. I mean, he's just getting pushed around by them in some sense, and it really bothers me. If we could have the Biden that we had, when he was a senator
5 years ago or something,
I could live with that.
Yeah.
I mean, just I don't know. It's just I don't know. I just don't like.
We all agree that Biden should have run 2016.
And against Hillary Clinton,
instead of
Hillary.
Hillary.
Instead of Hillary, I'm sorry, absolutely, that would have been easy, and he probably would have won.
He probably would have won.
Yeah, he probably would have won.
Yeah.
But now,
and I don't know if I would have been opposed to that. Really, well, I don't know about now. Right now, it's just I don't know. I'm not a fan of what's going on in our country at all, and because it affects me directly. So
does the Republican Party have anybody to put up can even contest Trump's power in the Republican Party?
I don't know, dude, because Trump, that's the scary part, is because I don't know that Trump, I think if Trump runs, he may win.
Yeah, now the polls are pointing back towards him because of all this nonsense. You all know I'm pro DeSantis. I would like to see I'd like to see a younger man get in there, and his wife has a lot of good initiatives that she's in talks to do about like women's issues, breast cancer and stuff like that, because she's suffering from breast cancer now. I like those types of things. DeSantis is tough like Trump, but he can articulate a little bit better, a lot better, and not like set the left completely off, I think.
Right. I think too, and maybe DeSantis, JD, is the answer to that. And but will he run? I don't know.
I'd like to see Michelle run. I want to see Michelle Obama run on the Democratic side.
I think she's probably too smart to get into it.
Yeah, she's probably too smart. Yeah,
honestly,
so crazy.
That's what we need. We need somebody smart.
It doesn't look like a great job. I mean,
no, it doesn't.
I agree with that. Now
it's a tough gig for sure. Job.
Yeah, no. I mean,
$400,000. No, thank you.
I know I give President Biden a hard time, and I certainly didn't vote for him. I always, tend to always vote red. I voted blue in a couple local elections, but now I don't vote blue. But it boils down to it, like we were talking about being from Eastern Kentucky. I can say what I want about President Biden, but nobody else can if they're from another country, type of thing. I know I know we have our problems, guys, but I tuck my kids into bed at night. And I don't have to worry if Todd's going to have to be drafted. I don't have to worry if Russian soldiers are going to be going door to door. I don't worry about any of that. Democrat or Republican leading me, I have not had to worry about that.
Well, let's talk about that, guys. We're at an hour 19 right now, so that's over what we normally do. But we've got a new segment that we want to try out this week. And one of my favorite things about Don being on the podcast, and JD too, is because they read a lot of articles and they post these on our Facebook page, right? And we get articles that they post with a lot of discussion. And so each week, as they post throughout the week, we're going to pick the topic that had the most engagement by our audience, and we're going to discuss it. And so, Don, have you got that pulled up there?
Yeah, so the most engaged one this time was talking about Russia, Ukraine, and I can just it's pulling up a little slow, so I'll just hurry up and say it. But it was talking about all the men aged 18 to 60 were not allowed to leave the country,
Yeah.
and that ignited a lot of emotion. So when you have husbands and brothers and just men in general that are not allowed to leave their country, it's so frightening to think about on the female side, because I'm so connected with Todd and what he gives to the family and how he protects me. And that would catapult me. And it catapulted the Ukrainian women to have to get their kids together and try to flee. We have a refugee situation over in Europe now, something that we've never seen in 80 years to this scale. I mean, this could be the beginning of another Cold War if it's not handled delicately. And the most engagement came on that, because just think that would be you two, and it's all these men watching, and everybody would just be, not be able to leave. That's wild. And it's respectful. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad they're fighting for their country, but shoosh.
So let me ask you, let me take this a little bit different direction, maybe. As women start progressing, even in military circles, right, and getting into infantry type MOSs and infantry jobs, and like, should women be eligible for draft now? Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, the problem with that is, where does that leave the children?
Right.
So that's ultimately where we are now. I'm done having kids. I don't want any more kids. And my girls and my boys are old enough to where I can say, hey, I've got 3 adult children, technically adults. They're 18, 19, and 20. And I could say, hey, please take Brooklyn, get to Poland or wherever. I'm going to stay and fight. So I think it's more of a kind of picking and choosing if what your family situation is. But if my kids were younger, then I can't. I'm a mother first.
Well, I thought what you said, Dawn, was great when you were saying that, one of the great things about our country is we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Right. We don't have to worry about that. And to think that those Ukrainian people, because they're human beings just like we are, they just live in a different place. And to have to even worry about something like that is just heartbreaking.
Right?
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking.
Right. But if you get into drafting males 18 to 60 and females 18 to 60, then you have orphans.
Right. So now, like the Vietnam War, they made exceptions, if you was in college or if you had a brother, like, or you was the only son or whatever. So, I mean, I'm sure they could do things like that.
Yeah.
How would you feel about that? Like, they said, okay, if you're a female 18 to 40 and you have no kids.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't mind it. I mean, it scares me to death. And I don't think that I don't want my girls drafted. But remember, Reagan served 4 years under a Marine and a Navy chief in the ROTC, and she went to the Air Force Academy and missed it by that much on getting an assignment there. Yeah. So for me, it's a little different. But if I was looking at my friends and her daughter, they are not going to do anything but hold you and your son's back. No, and she said that. She said, if I have to go, JD, big strong JD, and your son's name's Chase, right? They would just have to pull me out because
yeah. So what I'm talking about though is, like, as far as female progressive, like moving forward, would that be a good step forward for females, or is that a step that you guys don't want to like?
It's
a weird spot. It's a weird thing, right?
It's a weird,
it is.
We want to be equal. We want to show our might. We want to show our strength. You know what? I think I'm going to set the draft out. I don't know.
Let me tell you, I'm not one of those girls. Now, I'm feisty, so like I said, I'll fight you. But when it boils down to the differences, right. my uterus would cause me to go over there and create not only World War III, but World War IV too, because I would just be pissed off 1 week out of the month, and I would be weakened because your periods slow you down. Now, you're going to have girls that act like their periods don't slow them down or doesn't change them. It's a lie. It's a hormonal thing. So no, I don't think that we should. I would not vote for us to go after our girls.
Yeah.
I would, if I'm forced.
The reason I even thought about it is, I seen a meme that said, here's the lady said, I'm a feminist. I just want to let y'all know, if World War III pops off, my place is in the kitchen.
Isn't that funny?
But how would you feel about that, JD? Because you have 2 boys and a daughter, and if Chase got drafted, I know, it would be way different. It would be for me. Like if I had a son, in one sense, I would feel like, all right, it's my son. It's his duty to serve his country.
Right.
Freedom is not free, all those things. But you come and draft my daughter.
Yeah,
I just don't know how to feel about that.
Because remember where you're putting us. So when these women go out and they are like, hey, I want to be equal to Jimmy Don, I would have to sleep in barracks with 90% men. And and
you're fighting an enemy that would rape you.
Fighting men, right? So that's right. So I'm not going to bring a ton of strength, and we can liberal this up all we want, but it boils down to I'm not made like you guys are made, point blank.
Sure.
Interesting. Yeah.
But now my only rebuttal would be to that is like war is not what it used to be either, right? Like we don't line up across the field from each other and shoot each other. Like so. Now we're flying drones from 6,000 miles away, and so I don't know. Like, I think it's an interesting conversation.
Well, that part of it, though, like if you're flying a drone or if you're fighting a digital war, a cyber war, right? Yeah. That seems like one thing, but actually having to pack a machine gun and
infantry,
and invade the battlefield, I don't know. I would have a hard time with my girls doing that. For what Don said is they're different because if they get captured, they're going to live an entirely different kind of hell than what our male
I agree with
males would.
Chris, totally. Because, once you volunteer to go into the military, your assignment. You understand the assignment, right? You know what you're doing. You know that you're probably going to be sent to war at some point within your 20-year, if it's a 20-year career. So I definitely think those make the best soldiers. But, we have all this push. All this, left-leaning push. I'm not attacking you, JD, because you'll agree with me on a lot of it. But we're pushing too far. And we're forgetting that there are tyrants and that there are crazy people out there that love when we're fighting over pronouns, and they love that we're confused and we don't know if we have a wiener or a twat. They love all of that stuff because while we're fighting that, they're thinking about going door to door in Ukraine. I mean, and if they start going door to door over there, it's going to be a bloodbath. I mean, hats off to the Ukrainian people. They have dug in.
Absolutely, they've give Russians, a little more fight than what they was expecting, I think, and kudos to them. But my boy Zelensky, I think he's short term. I do
too. I think they'll kill him either way if they get a hold of him.
Oh, so awful.
But it's just a bad situation, man.
Anyway,
good show, guys.
Yeah, that was an awesome show. Love that one. So we're about an hour 27, so we'll wrap it up here, guys. Thank you so much. As always, my friends, it's good to see you all. So I enjoy the discussion. It's one of my favorite things to do on a Sunday evening. I don't feel like myself if I don't get to, hash it out with you all. So
it's always fun, you guys.
Yeah, always a good time. Well, guys, we appreciate you so much for hanging out with us this evening. Of course, as soon as we get done, I'll download this to Podbean and launch the actual podcast version of this show. Of course, it'll be on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you can, get podcasts. You'll find us, the JAB, and Don and JD will be posting on our social media. Go over on Facebook, Instagram, all those places where we do that stuff and be part of the conversation. We enjoyed that, and I really enjoyed what we just did with that segment. So I think we'll try that out again next week. So get in there, follow the Facebook page, get on there, have some discussions. JD will get on there and argue with you.
Like and share.
Yeah, share the podcast. We really appreciate it. And you know how we end this thing every week? No matter how bad your week's been, no matter how bad your day's going, if you just add bourbon, it always gets a little bit better. We'll see you guys next week.